Hello and welcome to Turning Point Tactics, the competitive Kill Team 40k podcast and YouTube channel focused on giving you the strategies and tactics to seize initiative every turning point. I'm your host Ryan and I'm joined by the only knob you want to see across the table at Christmas. No, it's not a Commando player, everyone hates them. It's Connor. How are you doing this evening, Connor?
I'm good, thanks, Ryan. And joke's on you because I've asked for Chaos Cults for Christmas, so let's see what Santa gives me. Maybe you don't see me.
I asked for Chaos Cults and no friends.
No one to play with.
It's amazing how well those two things go together. But maybe that'll be solved soon in the next Balanced States, which is hopefully coming up. We are doing a little bit of chicken and egg here with Games Workshop because we know that as soon as we release any content about the Balanced Data Slate, a tier list, threat guides, it will be immediately changed by the Balanced Data Slate. So we're just holding out, making sure that they show their hand first before we waste our time on the content. So we'll have to wait and see. And as a quick reminder for everyone listening at home, if you really want to give us a helping hand, if you share this content amongst your gaming buddies, make sure that they know about it and they can hopefully get some tips and tricks as well. That'd be really useful. And if you are enjoying it, hitting a like, subscribe, helps out a bunch. And make sure to drop a comment if you have any questions about the show or something you want to get answered. All right, Connor. So what do you want to talk about this week?
Well, you've been extremely busy. In fact, you went to Atlanta recently. Did you play any Kill Team when you went to Atlanta?
Just one or two games, like just a little bit, dip my toe. Maybe hit like a 7 turning point game, something like that. Just
okay.
Just a little casual.
Turning point 5. What's turning point 7?
It was a great game with Keegan from Spain, and basically in the top 8 you couldn't have a draw was the outcome. So the only way to determine a winner was to keep playing turning points where it became who could hold objectives or the most objectives in of each turning point. And yeah, it just went on and on because we finished turning point 4 and managed to draw against Commandos, which I was like really chuffed about because that to me was quite a big success. I was like, I'm playing loot open board Commandos and I managed to get a draw. I'm like, this is awesome. And it's like, now I just play another turning point. And I was like, oh my God. And I got another draw. It's like, what do we do now? Play another turning point.
Another turning point. Another turning point.
It's too many turning points. But yeah, so it was great fun. Like the actual game itself was awesome because Keegan's just a great dude. And yeah, we had loads and loads of fun doing it. So that was pretty cool. But yeah, it was, overall, it was a pretty awesome experience, I think. So, I got to meet a whole bunch of cool people from across the community, which you didn't think that you would normally do, So, people like from the last edition who I've met online, like Shane from Command Point. It was awesome meeting him in person, actually getting to play a game. Mateusz from Poland, I got to play for the first time, which again was awesome. Wallace from Spain, like all these people, right? Like, and even like the Garrett, I can just name every single opponent now, but like every single opponent I've played with, you heard about them on the scene or you've seen them in Discord or something like that, and it was so cool to put those names to faces and faces to names, or to usernames, I guess, and actually sort of like connect them. And it was that part of it was absolutely awesome. I did quite a lot of good boozing with Liam from Down Under and Chris and Mateusz. So we had good fun. Like from the social side of it, it was pretty awesome, I think.
Hardcore drinking countries there, Poland, Australia. I think
that was the real
we're notoriously good as Brits, but I don't think we're world championship drinkers like some of those other countries.
Oh, I don't know, man. I don't know. We were holding our own, Chris and I. So it was funny.
Oh, you brought Chris? Oh, thank God! Yeah, that's why he turned up.
It's like, like so before Chris went out, he'd taken like a year off drinking, and I'm like, oh no, sweet, let's go. And then after a week with me, he's now back on the booze. So I don't know if it's a bad influence, but the Navy and me came out. So yeah, it was good fun though. It was really good fun, and I reckon that would be a much more interesting world championship in future. We're talking about how you could try and play with some sort of drinking game involved.
Every time you lose a model, you take a drink. Yeah. So play Colts if you want, but
yeah, exactly. Dangerous. And I think if you mutate, that should also count. You're taking a model the other one on. You can drink on that one as well. Yeah. But yeah, so it was good fun, and I mean, that sort of stuff was absolutely epic, which is really, really cool.
So I'm intrigued because I remember in the car ride down, we were talking. You didn't want to degrade yourself and therefore degrade your wins by taking Commandos and Colts to the World Championships. I think those were your actual words. I'm not paraphrasing. So who did you bring? Who did you take with you?
Obviously, I went Commandos. I went with Star Striders, and I had a blast with them, to be fair. I think looking back at so Colts wasn't one that I was really tracking like that closely, if that makes sense. But Commandos, everyone was tracking, right? Like, everyone knew Commandos were a problem. But Colts, I was like, yeah, they seem really strong, but no one was really playing them. But it was just one of those maybe it's a thing, maybe it's not. So I was more worried about your sort of your Commandos, your Breachers, and those sort of teams. But I think Star Stride did me well. Like, they are so much fun to play. I think they've got generically quite a good matchup into most teams. It just happens that they have a pretty terrible matchup into Commandos, and I think they have a not so good matchup into Colts. Not that it really mattered in the end, so didn't get to play them. So I just played against Commandos in that brick wall. But yeah, like, it was like, I think if I was to, and this is like the point though, right? It's like, at the top tables, you need to choose a team that you think is actually going to win. And going into it, I didn't think I was going to win the tournament, but I did want to have a lot of fun. And I was hoping maybe I'd be able to sneak into the top 8. And I quite literally just about snuck into the top 8. So I'm pretty happy with it.
Stretch goal achieved.
Yeah, exactly. I got my 50% win rate, and I hope, like, I genuinely hope that I gave all my opponents a good game. I think I made them work for their wins, at least. Maybe not so much against Wallace in ITD against Commandos and Capture, because that was just brutal. I still haven't figured out how you win that game, but I will keep trying to figure that out, and maybe I'll get there one day. But
I'm definitely intrigued, because in the car, when we were talking about how you didn't want to debase yourself and take command.
You need to stop going so hard into this.
Again, your words, not mine.
No, you can't put words in my mouth.
And but you definitely identified Commandos were going to be out there and they were going to be strong, and you thought about bringing Legionary, and you didn't at the end. You went Star Striders. Talk us through that. What was that about?
Yeah, so I mean, one of the things I don't like about Legionary is they can be kind of swingy, and it sounds odd, right? Like, most of them have 5 attacks, most of them hit on 3s and whatever, that sort of stuff. But there's only so many times that you can roll 3 1s on a plasma attack and just realise that it's a bit hurtful. And so, like, one of the things that I'd say about elites in general, which is, I mean, you rolling bad on your dice is one problem, but there's also the other problem, which is elites are far more susceptible to your opponent rolling hot as well. And that was one of the things that I found really difficult with elite teams, is if your opponent just rolls like 4 6s, you just go, well, that's that then, isn't it? I guess there's nothing I can do. And like, it came up in my game against Shane, where I fired off one of my orbital bombards, whatever, and I think I got like 4 crits on 4 and just like lethal 5, but like it was like 5 5 4, 6 6, or maybe it was 3 crits, whatever. Either way, he only saved 1 to like 15 damage and just like nuked him off the board. And like that kind of thing, you just can't predict against. So that's the sort of problem set I think elites have. So I didn't want to take him for that reason. And I also thought Star Striders would be more fun, which I think they were. Like, I really enjoy playing them, and I wonder when Commanders are outside the meta, maybe it'll be better off. And also, I thought it'd be more elites. I don't want to be the person, because what I thought there would be more elites, as in like just generically more legionaries, because they play well into Commandos. And they play well into like most teams. And I thought there'd also be more Inquisition. There's only 2. And I thought there'd be more, as a result of there being more legionaries, and commandos, maybe more or less commandos. I thought there'd be more Hearthkin, but there wasn't. So I sort of meta gained that completely wrong, I guess, which is part of it, right? So
triple bluffed yourself.
Yeah, you got to turn up with the right team, and for the top 8, I don't think it was the right team. But that being said, that was a decision and a choice by me, and I think there was games which I could have won in the top 8 had I played it better, and therefore my final placement within that top 8 is down to me, not the team. So even though I'd had a difficult time playing against Commandos, I played against Camille from Poland with his breaches, and I lost that game. And I think that's probably one of the ones that I should have won. I think that's a favourable matchup for Star Striders. And therefore, by losing that game, I dropped into the 7th or 8th bracket rather than being in the 5th or 6th potentially. So even then, I would have been playing Commandos afterwards. But so that's kind of the bits that I think I've taken away from it anyway. So
it just looked like such a fun environment, and I remember staying up with the Discord that even Games Workshop put up a live. It wasn't quite live, but a live tournament tracker, and some of the Spanish guys were live streaming some of the games. It was just a really cool environment. I hope sort of sets the scene and whets the appetite to have more of these in the future, and more live streaming and more, because a lot of it was obviously leaning towards Big Daddy 40k, which no one cares about. Let's face that. And
it is objectively a bad game, right? They don't realise it yet, but when they come play Guilty, they'll go, "Oh, this is a lot better."
I could play one game and have 2 hours of free time left to go around the canteen. All right, interesting.
Well, ironically, we didn't, because for some reason we played 4-hour rounds,
7 rounds.
The longest game was 6 hours. It was a Turning Point 7 one, but oh man. So I think, to be fair, most of my games were under 3 hours. I think my first game was just over 3. I was playing a guy called True, and he was running a vet guard, and he sort of turned up to the table and said he'd been traveling, I think, all morning. So he was like, I'm very tired. So do you mind if we sort of play a slightly slower game? And I was like, absolutely not. I've been traveling all night. You've been traveling all morning. I'm a bit jet lagged. I don't care. We've got 4 hours. There is no way we're not going to finish this game in time. And I think that was one of the longer games. And then obviously until I had hit the final Turning Point 7, which I think, again, we finished the first however many turning points it was in a somewhat reasonable amount of time. And then it just went on. Because it's casino lighting, right? It's all bright lights. You have no concept of time. So you're just in there what is happening?
In my head, it's like snooker, and there's just a big green board, and only one player is allowed up at the time. And if you want to move a model, you have to ask a judge to come over.
Someone comes in with white gloves and moves him around and make sure it's in the right position. This is what you're after. Yeah, it was it was very, very precise. And to be fair, and no one wants to make a mistake in deployment or anything like that. And people are double checking and triple checking rules because, and that is part of it, right? You're playing at the highest level. And the amount of times where you go to someone, oh, this is the weapon profile, and they go, oh, right, is it? And you go, you know what? Let me just double check. Because normally I'll just go, yeah, sure it is. And then you go to your rulebook and you go, no, it definitely is, right? But you just don't want to get it wrong. And there's stuff that I learned. So, for instance, on the Octarius, there's 2 hatches on top of it. Didn't realise that the other one was a hatch. Normally everyone just thinks it's the little circular one. There's a little square grate as well. You can also go through that. That caught me out once. Hopefully it'll never catch me out again. But yeah, that was something else I learned. So that was pretty awesome.
So that was a good fun tournament, but it's just the World Championship. Obviously, we also had the most important tournament of the year as well recently. Turning Point Tactics.
Our tournament. Me.
And,
it's all about us. It's all about us.
all about you. You were actually TOing for once, so you got to see it from the other side. How did you find that?
Yeah, it was really interesting actually, and I thought I might hate it, because being a player, pretty much. Well, I've never TO'd before, right? So I've only ever just turned up to events and just had fun. And I was like, am I going to be have that missing out feeling? But actually, I quite enjoyed it. It was really rewarding going there and engaging with so much of the community and also like seeing how much the community came out to support, which was like just so unbelievably cool. It was the largest UK event in London. Largest UK event outside of Warhammer Fest, right? So that sold 118. That's an official GW event, so I was never going to beat that. But yeah, so we sold 64 tickets and 58 people turned up, I think, in the end on day one, which is really awesome. So that was like, the largest event that we'd had, which is pretty cool, right? So the and what we tried to do during the event was make it to cater for as many people as possible, because, this is partly because people like Jason have been, slowly whispering in my ear over the past few months, but like we wanted to make sure that it was equally beneficial and fun for the casual player as it is for the competitive player, right? So that was the idea of it, and I'm hoping that everyone went away with that sort of feeling. So it was really good to do, and I personally had a lot of fun being a TO and making sure that everything ran to time, which was pretty good. But you also had some personal success, Connor, right? Because, and I don't really understand what this is, but you did some hobby.
Yeah, I think
Am I saying it right? Am I saying it right? Hobby.
That's the word. We'll get you doing it one day. It'll happen.
And you came fourth in the best painted, right? Which
in the second day.
On the second day, yeah. So, but I'm going to say, like, the painting competition was absolutely insane.
I think that's what happens when you get like all the community. We had communities from north, south, east, west UK, and I'm pretty sure some international as well. I definitely know of one French guy that turned up. There might have been some more, but I guess that's what happens if you get all these communities and then go, show us your best painted. I mean, we've seen Nottingham. They do some phenomenal stuff.
It's incredible. It's a world of their own up there. And then, like London came out in force, but London didn't win best painted. London did not win best painted.
Unfortunately, Russ from GFN Gaming did. We're not going to.
He came down with his aggressive northern painting style.
Aggressive northern painting.
And absolutely crushed it.
They were nice, weren't they?
He didn't just have a 1-tier display base. He went above and beyond. He had a 2-tier display base for his word bearers, I think, right? It was the Chaos Legion.
Yes.
And like they're so cool. Each model in the team is like a little, little story, little vignette. Like it has its own unique moment.
Sure,
to it.
He had 20 models as well, like a full roster.
Yeah,
all of them awesome.
Yeah, and they just looked incredible, and the display base was incredible. I think my favorite. Well, I looked at a bunch of them, but I think the favorite was the Shrive Talon. And he's just like executing a guy, and then just staring at someone else, like just so menacing.
There was one. I don't know if it was a Shrive Talon, but it looked like they were preparing their grizzly mark at the same time as executing them.
That is exactly it. Like it is the most grisly of grisly marks. But yeah, it was really, really awesome. But so you did hobby, right? And what did you do?
Yeah, afterwards it dawned on me that I made the most hated models ever, because not only am I taking a Void Dancer kill team, and nobody likes Void Dancers, they're also Tau, and I don't know why, but everyone hates Tau too. So.
It's because of the Pathfinders, man. Yeah. You combine the two things.
The most offensive kill team in the world. But yeah, they were cool. They were close combat Tau, so far side Tau. With swords, and also incredibly fragile. I don't think they'll ever see board time again because they kept falling to bits, but it was fun.
Oh my god, they are and he's saying fragile, right? So I thought I'd help him pack his team the day before the tournament.
Don't let Ryan pack your Ming vases.
It was so I put the model in between the two bits of foam in like a foam storage tray, and then let the foam spring back slowly, let the pressure come off, whatever, and that force of foam pushing against the model broke off both arms. And I was like,
when you handed me the box, I thought you were handing me some Lego, and he said, "No, that's your kill team." Oh, thanks for that. Cheers.
But luckily, you're really good about it, and you weren't at all angry. And, you didn't hold it against me or blame me about it at all. So that was really, really good of you.
I reckon.
I reckon that's our at least 2 minutes quota of hobby because I feel dirty when I talk about it. So we need to move on swiftly, otherwise people might think that we're not a competitive kill team channel anymore, and we're some filthy hobbyers. So yeah, there is, I guess, one little bit of news to come out of the tournament, and is that we are planning to do another one, right? Which is hopefully going to be bigger and better, because I think, unfortunately, the current title of the biggest independent kill team event is going to be taken away from us next weekend by Jason at Sanctuary,
Sneaky
going
get.
up to 64 player. Yeah, I mean, he is
Sneaky
like
get.
it. I've seen it, like everything that I was doing. He was like, "I'm going to one up you on this. I'm going to one up you on this." Like it was like I got out, like, because he brought chocolate. I brought chocolate. He's going to be like, "I'm going to bring better chocolate." You know, like if it's biscuits, he's going to go for Fox's biscuits, right? Like he's that kind of guy. He's going to beat me in every aspect. So he's immediately going up to 64 players, and he's got like a waiting list and everything. So if they all turn up, he's going to overtake us straight away. So hopefully everyone does. That'd be really, really awesome.
There'll be
And
a
that
full
then
mod
means
to turn up. It's going to be amazing.
Oh yeah, for sure. And there's so many little things planned, which I think is really, really cool. And so it's gonna be cool to see that happen. Unfortunately, I can't be there for the start of the day, so I'm gonna have to turn up at the end, which means I've had to give my place to someone else. But which is good because it needs to be 64 players, so that's a good outcome. But anyway, what it means is obviously we have to then beat that event. So we're gonna try and do that in June. I'm hoping by then golden tickets and that sort of stuff will be announced. And so we're looking for the last weekend in June. Date and time subjects change, but that's the idea. And we're going to try and host it in Nottingham. And the reason for that is really because Nottingham has a direct train to London. It has a direct train to Manchester. It has like various transport links to the Notts region communities. So in the UK, it is the closest like hub for everyone, for all the major communities, because most people can get to London, then they get from London to Notts or whatever, and they don't want to go for like another train after that. So I'm hoping for everyone in the UK, it's like 2 stops on a train kind of thing, or 2 changes, whatever. And then for people coming outside, they can fly into London and then go up as well. So that's the idea of it. And maybe if you're a bit of a, Warhammer, enthusiast, you might want to go and see the Games Workshop studio itself and go have a look around Warhammer World. And that's obviously in Nottingham. So it lets people do all those sorts of things at the same time. So last weekend in June is what we're hoping for. I need to get a venue sorted and all that sort of stuff. But it's significantly cheaper than London for hotels. It's significantly cheaper for transport. And then hopefully we'll go for 128 players is the plan. That's what we're going to go for. Audacious. It won't be as big as LVO this year because that's going to be absolutely massive. I think they're up 150 already. But it will be the biggest UK tournament if we can sell out, which I'm hoping we will, but we'll see. So save the date, last weekend in June, thereabouts, and Nottingham is the plan. Cheap hotels, easy transport, turn up for 1 day, turn up for 2 days, where it's going to be. That's what we'll go for. Okay. We've already sort of touched on the balanced data slate. If people are wondering why it's been a little bit dry on content recently, it's because we are genuinely waiting for the balanced data slate, which Warcom has indicated to be the 14th of December. But as we've said, we don't want to release a whole bunch of stuff on the 13th.
We know
of December.
that it's actually going to be released as soon as we drop our guide. That's when the data slate is.
It's going to happen, right? It's going to happen. Everyone's already bullying me online to be like, just release it now, Ryan, so we can get it, right? Because as soon as you release yours, it will be within 5 minutes, right? Like within 5 minutes, it will be out, and it will just be Elliot just laughing in the background. You'd be like, yeah, this is what you want. This is what you get. But yeah, so I refuse to cave to Kill Team's most handsome man, first. So he's going to have to do it. It's probably not him. It's probably the Warcom team, but he can't be the most handsome and get his way with the content creators as well. So someone's gonna have to break first. But yeah, so we're planning to do a threat guide for all the factions, which will be hopefully really useful for people, particularly if you're like new to the game or you'll have a quick refresh, and then also a tier list because people want to know what people are thinking is good and bad. And I'm not gonna lie, it'll be a hot take because there'll probably be a whole bunch of stuff that is hidden in the background. Like I think Vet Guard's a sleeper faction at the moment, all that sort of stuff. But we'll have a look and see, right? Because there might be some buffs that are coming out and might completely shake up the meta. Who knows? All right, Connor, we do have a whole bunch of stuff to get through in this episode because we have a bunch of patron priority questions that need answering. But if people are listening at home and they think to themselves, hey, I really want to support the podcast, we want to help you guys out, is there any way that they could go about doing that?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. So first of all, you should subscribe, join our Patreon. It'll cost you as little as £3 a month, and that'll get you early access to all of our videos, as well as some exclusive Patreon-only content. It'll also give you access to our Patreon Discord channel, which is just growing and growing now. It's absolutely awesome. I love the community that's on there. We've got hobby on there. We've got memes on there. We've got guides not even by us now. The community is so large. Like if you ask a question in some of those channels, we've got so many members of the community that will immediately jump in there and answer your question. In fact, it's getting so big, Ryan, isn't it? I think it might be that if you want to get Ryan's attention when he's on the Discord, if you do an @ symbol, an @Ryan, it'll go straight to him because there's a lot of notifications in there coming through.
Please do, right? Because like I'm looking at all of these various things and all filling up with like people just talking to each other, and I'm scrolling through trying to find the bits, and every now and then I catch up and go, oh yeah, I need to answer that. But if you have a question that you want me to answer, just @ me, or submit a patron priority question because I'll go answer live on the show. So those are two options. But please feel free if you want my opinion on something, just @ me or Connor in the Discord. The
other way you could do it is just by buying models. So if you buy using our affiliate link, we've got affiliate links with both Element Games and Noble Knight Games. Noble Knight's for the US and Element Games is for the UK. If you purchase your models through those affiliate links, then that's another way to support the podcast. The other thing you can do is like and subscribe on our YouTube video, share it with all your friends, and even just watch till the end. So you don't even have to watch it yourself. Go out and walk the dog, but just leave it playing in the background.
Please do the whole playlist. leave it on play.
That'll help. Then we've also got the Linktree going, which has got useful tools and links to everything that you could possibly need. We've got links to the Kill Team calculator. That's not ours, by the way. That's I've forgotten the name of the guy that made that, but it's such a useful tool. Who made that?
Jacob.
Jacob, of course, yeah.
Jacob made that,
such a good tool. You just put in the details of the mass that you want, and it'll quickly give you the odds of that attack succeeding or that defense succeeding. We've also got things like our map guides on the Linktree, all sorts on there, and that'll be in the description below if you're watching on YouTube. But we already discussed some patron priority questions, and I learnt a good phrase from Nick Collins earlier. We're not here to fuck spiders, Ryan. Should we crack on?
I'm not sure. At least we're more than 2 minutes in.
I think I used that right. My new favourite phrase.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's get straight into it. That brings us to the end of the episode. Hopefully you found something new or useful while listening, and if you did, throwing us a like would be greatly appreciated. If you want to make sure you don't miss any episodes, make sure you hit that subscribe button and click on the bell so you get notifications as soon as the next one drops. It really is the best way to help a small channel like ours. And if you can't wait and you do want early access, we have a Patreon where you get exclusive access to all our content ahead of time. As always, we'd love to hear your thoughts and feedback. So drop a comment below and we'll get right to you. Thank you so much for listening. I'm your host Ryan. This has been Turning Point Tactics, and we'll see you next week.